The Martyr Saints of China, or Augustine Zhao Rong and his 119 companions, are saints of the Roman Catholic Church. The 87 Chinese Catholics and 33 Western missionaries, from the mid-17th century to 1930, were martyred because of the ministry and, in some cases, for the refusal to apostatize. Many died in the Boxer Rebellion, in which xenophobic peasants slaughtered 30,000 Chinese converts to Christianity along with missionaries and other foreigners. In the ordinary form of the Latin Rite, they are remembered with an optional memorial on July 9. The 17th and 18th centuries. On January 15, 1648, the Manchus, having invaded the region of Fujian and shown themselves hostile to the Christian religion, killed St. Francisco Fernandez de Capillas, a Dominican priest aged 40. After having imprisoned and tortured him, they beheaded him while he recited with others the sorrowful mysteries of the Rosary. Father de Capillas has since been recognized by the Holy See as the proto-martyr of China. After the first wave of missionary activities in China during the late Ming to early Qing dynasties, the Qing government officially banned Catholicism in 1724 and lumped it together with other perverse sects and sinister doctrines in Chinese folk religion, while Catholicism continued to exist and increase many-fold in areas beyond the government's control, and many Chinese Christians fled the persecution to go to port cities in Guangdong or to Indonesia, where many translations of Christian works into Chinese occurred during this period. There were also many brave missionaries that broke the law and secretly entered the forbidden mainland territory. They eluded Chinese patrol boats on the rivers and coasts. However, some of them were caught and put to death. Towards the middle of the 18th century, 5 Spanish missionaries, who had carried out their activity between 1715 to 1747, were put to death as a result of a new wave of persecution that started in 1729 and broke out again in 1746. This was in the epoch of the Yongzheng Emperor and of his successor, the Qianlong Emperor. St. Peter Sans O.P. Bishop was martyred on the 26th of May 1747 in Fuzhou. All 4 of the following were killed on the 28th of October 1748-1. St. Francis Serrano O.P. Vicar Apostolic and Bishop-elect. 2. St. Joachim Royo O.P. Priest. 3. St. John Alcoba O.P. Priest. 4. St. Francis Diaz O.P. Priest. Early 19th century martyrdoms. A new period of persecution in regard to the Christian religion then occurred in the 19th century. While Catholicism had been authorized by some Chinese emperors in the preceding centuries, the Jiaqing Emperor published, instead, numerous and severe decrees against it. The first was issued in 1805. 2 edicts of 1811 were directed against those among the Chinese who were studying to receive sacred orders, and against priests who were propagating the Christian religion. A decree of 1813 exonerated voluntary apostates from every chastisement, that is, Christians who spontaneously declared that they would abandon the faith, but all others were to be dealt with harshly. In this period the following underwent martyrdom. 5. St. Peter Wu, a Chinese lay catechist, born of a pagan family, he received baptism in 1796 and passed the rest of his life proclaiming the truth of the Christian religion. All attempts to make him apostatize were in vain. The sentence having been pronounced against him, he was strangled on November 7, 1814. 6. St. Joseph Shang Dapeng, a lay catechist and a merchant, Baptized in 1800, he had become the heart of the mission in the city of Konyang. He was imprisoned, and then strangled to death on March 12, 1815. Also in the same year, there came 2 other decrees, with which approval was given to the conduct of the Viceroy of Sichuan, who had beheaded Monsignor de Fraisse of the Paris Foreign Missions Society, and some Chinese Christians. As a result, there was a worsening of the persecution. The following martyrs belong to this period. 7. St. Gabriel Taurine de Fraisse M.E.P. Bishop. He was arrested on May 18, 1815, taken to Chengdu, condemned and executed on September 14, 1815. 8. Saint Augustine Zhao Rong, a Chinese diocesan priest, having first been one of the soldiers who had escorted Monsignor de Fraisse from Chengdu to Beijing. He was moved by his patience and had then asked to be numbered among the neophytes. Once baptized, he was sent to the seminary and then ordained a priest. Arrested, he was tortured and died in 1815. 9. St. John d'Artriora, FM, priest, put in prison together with others in the summer of 1815. He was then condemned to death, and strangled on February 7, 1816. 10. St. Joseph Yuan, a Chinese diocesan priest, having heard Monsignor de Fraisse speak of the Christian faith, he was overcome by its beauty and then became an exemplary neophyte. Later, he was ordained a priest and, as such, was dedicated to evangelization in various districts. He was arrested in August 1816, condemned to be strangled, and was killed in this way on the 24th of June 1817. 11. St. Paul Luhan Xuer, a Chinese diocesan priest, killed in 1819. 12. St. Francis Regis of the Congregation of the Mission. After obtaining permission to go to the missions in China, he embarked for the Orient in 1791. Having reached there, for 30 years he spent a life of missionary sacrifice. Upheld by an untiring zeal, he evangelized 3 immense Chinese provinces, Jiangxi, Hubei, Hunan. Betrayed by a Christian, he was arrested and thrown into prison where he underwent atrocious tortures. Following sentence by the Jiaqing Emperor, he was killed by strangling on February 17, 1820. 13. St. Thaddeus Lu, a Chinese diocesan priest, he refused to apostatize, saying that he was a priest and wanted to be faithful to the religion that he had preached. Condemned to death, he was strangled on November 30, 1823. 14. St. Peter Lu, a Chinese lay catechist. He was arrested in 1814 and condemned to exile in Tartary, where he remained for almost 20 years. Returning to his homeland, he was again arrested, and was strangled on May 17, 1834. 15. St. Joachim Ho, a Chinese lay catechist. He was baptized at the age of about 20 years. In the Great Persecution of 1814 he had been taken with many others of the faithful and subjected to cruel torture. Sent into exile in Tartary, he remained there for almost 20 years. Returning to his homeland, he was arrested again and refused to apostatize. Following that, and the death sentence having been confirmed by the emperor, he was strangled on July 9, 1839. 16. St. John Gabriel Purbo R.C.M. entered the Vincentians as a high school student. The death of his younger brother, also a Vincentian priest, moved his superiors to allow him to take his brother's place. Arriving in China in 1835. Despite poor health, he served the poverty-stricken residents of Hubei. Arrested during a revival of anti-Christian persecution, he was arrested, and, upon imperial edict, strangled to death in 1840. 17. Augustus Chapdelaine, M.E.P., a priest of the Diocese of Coutances. He entered the seminary of the Paris Foreign Missions Society, and embarked for China in 1852. He arrived in Guangxi at the end of 1854. Arrested in 1856, he was tortured, condemned to death in prison, and died in February 1856. 18. St. Lawrence by Xiaoman, a Chinese layman and an unassuming worker. He joined Blessed Chapdelaine in the refuge that was given to the missionary and was arrested with him and brought before the tribunal. Nothing could make him renounce his religious beliefs. He was beheaded on February 25, 1856. 19. Saint Agnes Kau, a widow, born into an old Christian family, being dedicated to the instruction of young girls who had recently been converted by Blessed Chapdelaine. She was arrested and condemned to death in prison. She was executed on March 1, 1856. Martyrs of Maokou and Guizhou. 3 catechists known as the Martyrs of Maokou were killed on 28 January 1858 by order of the officials in Maokou. 17. St. Jerome Lu Tingmei. 18. St. Lawrence Wang Bing. 19. Saint Agatha Lin Zhao. All 3 had been called on to renounce the Christian religion and, having refused to do so, were condemned to be beheaded. In Guizhou, 2 seminarians and 2 laypeople, one of whom was a farmer, the other a widow who worked as a cook in the seminary, suffered martyrdom together on July 29, 1861. They are known as the Martyrs of King Yaozhen. 20. St. Joseph Shangwinilan, seminarian. 21. St. Paul Chen Shangpin, seminarian. 22. St. John Baptist Luo Dingyin, layman. 23. St. Martha Wang Luo Mande, laywoman. In the following year, on February 18 and 19, 1862, another 5 people gave their life for Christ. They are known as the Martyrs of Guizhou. 24. St. John Peter N.E.Acutl, a priest of the Paris Foreign Missions Society. 25. St. Martin Wu Zusheng, lay catechist. 26. St. John Zhang Tianchen, lay catechist. 27. St. John Shen Zhanheng, lay catechist. 28. St. Lucy Zhenmei, lay catechist. 19th century social and political developments. In the meantime, some incidents occurred in the political field that had notable repercussions on the life of the Christian missions. In June 1840, Lin Zizhu, the imperial commissioner of Guangdong, wished to abolish the opium trade that was being conducted by the British, had more than 20,000 chests of this drug thrown into the sea. This had been the pretext for immediate war, which was won by the British. When the war came to an end, China had to sign in 1842 to the first international treaty of modern times, followed quickly by others with the United States and France. Taking advantage of this opportunity, France replaced Portugal as the power protecting the Christian missions. Following on from this, a twofold decree was issued. One part in 1844 which permitted the Chinese to follow the Catholic religion, the other, in 1846, with which the old penalties against Catholics were abolished, and restored the property taken in 1724. The 1844 treaty also allowed for missionaries to come to China, but they were only permitted to come to the treaty ports open to Europeans. This fact was used as a legal justification for the execution of Augustus Chapdelaine. In the mid-19th century there was a civil war in China known as the Taiping Rebellion, during which a Hakka Chinese Christian, Hong Zhuqian, claimed to have received a special mission from God to fight fight evil and usher in a period of peace. Rong and his followers achieved considerable success in taking control of a large territory, and they destroyed Buddhist and Taoist shrines, temples to local divinities, and opposed Chinese folk religion. The war was very costly in lives, accounting for perhaps 20 to 30 million deaths, thus making it the second bloodiest conflict in human history. After the rebellion was crushed, the aftermath of the catastrophe led to Christianity acquiring a bad name, due to its association with the rebellion. This helped provoke violence against missionaries. Violence against missionaries during this period was also provoked due to the increasing association between missionary activities and foreign imperialism, including in relation to French imperialist activities in China that were conducted under the banner of protecting the missions. Following the martyrdom of St. Augustus Chapter.The in 1856, France launched a military expedition in response. This expedition concluded in 1860 with the Treaty of Shenzhen, which gave Catholic missionaries the freedom to move throughout China and to purchase land. From then on, the Catholic Church could live openly and carry out its missionary activity, developing it also in the sphere of higher education, in universities and scientific research, with the multiplication of various top-level cultural institutes, and thanks to the highly valued activity, ever deeper links were gradually established between the Catholic Church and China with its rich cultural traditions. Missionaries provoked the Chinese by building churches or schools on top of old temples or near official buildings. They also abolished indigenous Chinese Catholic institutions that had survived the imperial ban. Missions also sometimes acted as though they were quarantining Chinese converts from the surrounding society, and the way that they were separated helped fuel bad rumors among Chinese about what the Christians were actually doing. Such rumors about a Catholic orphanage in Tianjin in 1870 led to the massacre of 60 people. Less secretive Protestant sects were treated more kindly by the authorities. Chinese literati and gentry produced a pamphlet attacking Christian beliefs as socially subversive and irrational. Incendiary handbills and flyers distributed to crowds were also produced, and were linked to outbreaks of violence against Christians. Sometimes no such official incitement was needed in order to provoke the populace to attack Christians. For example, among the Hakka people in southeastern China, Christian missionaries frequently flouted village customs that were linked with local religions, including refusal to take part in communal prayers for rain and refusing to contribute funds to operas for Chinese gods. Catholic missions offered protection to those who came to them, including criminals, fugitives from the law, and rebels against the government. This also led to hostile attitudes developing against the missions by the government. Boxer Rebellion, and surpassed an era of expansion in the Christian missions, with the exception of the period in which they were struck by the disaster of the uprising by the Society for Justice and Harmony. This occurred at the beginning of the 20th century and caused the shedding of the blood of many Christians. It is known that, mingled in this rebellion, were all the secret societies and the accumulated and repressed hatred against foreigners in the last decades of the 19th century. Because of the political and social changes following the Second Opium War and the imposition of the so-called unequal treaties on China by the Western powers. Very different, however, was the motive for the persecution of the missionaries, even though they were of European nationalities. The slaughter was brought about solely on religious grounds. They were killed for the same reason as the Chinese faithful who had become Christians. Reliable historical documents provide evidence of the anti-Christian hatred which spurred the Boxers to massacre the missionaries and the Christians of the area who had adhered to the teaching. In this regard, an edict was issued on 1 July 1900 which, in substance, said that the time of good relations with European missionaries and their Christians was now past, that the former must be repatriated at once and the faithful forced to apostatize, on penalty of death. As a result, the martyrdom took place of several missionaries and many Chinese who can be grouped together as follows. A. Martyrs of Shanxi, killed on July 9, 1900, who were Franciscan friars minor, 29. St. Gregory Grassi, Bishop, 30. St. Francis Fogola, Bishop, 31. Saint Elias Facchini, Priests, 32. St. Theodoric Ballet, Priests, 33. Saint Andrew Bauer, religious brother, B. Martyrs of Southern Hunan, who were also Franciscan friars minor, 34. Saint Anthony Fantozati, Bishop, 35. St. Joseph Mary Gambaro, Priest, 36. St. Suicidio Giacomo Mantonio, Priest. To the martyred Franciscans of the First Order were added 7 Franciscan missionaries of Mary, of whom 3 were French, 2 are Italian, 1 Belgian, and 1 Dutch, 37. St. Mary Hermina of Jesus, 38. St. Mary of Peace, 39. St. Mary Clare, 40. St. Mary of the Holy Birth, 41. St. Mary of St. Justice, 42. St. Mary Adolphina, 43. St. Mary Amandina. Of the martyrs belonging to the Franciscan family, there were also 11 secular Franciscans, all Chinese, 44. St. John Angwan, seminarian, 45. St. Patrick Dongbodi, seminarian, 46. St. John Wang Rui, seminarian, 47. St. Philip Zhang Zhihei, seminarian, 48. St. John Zhang Jingguang, seminarian, 49. St. Thomas Shen Jivhei, layman and a manservant, 50. St. Simon Keen Chunfu, lay catechist, 51. St. Peter Wu An Bang, layman, 52. St. Francis Zhang Rong, layman and a farmer, 53. St. Matthew Fender, layman and neophyte, 54. St. Peter Zhang Banyu, layman and laborer. To these are joined a number of Chinese lay faithful, 55. St. James Yan Guodong, farmer, 56. St. James Zhao Quangson, manservant, 57. St. Peter Wang Ermin, cook. When the uprising of the Boxers, which had begun in Shandong and then spread through Shanxi and Hunan, also reached southeastern Chile, which was then the apostolic vicariate of Xiangxian, in the care of the Jesuits, the Christians killed could be counted in thousands. Among these were 4 French Jesuit missionaries and at least 52 Chinese lay Christians, men, women and children, the oldest of them being 79 years old, while the youngest were aged only 9 years. All suffered martyrdom in the month of July 1900. Many of them were killed in the church in Jujiehe village, in which they were taking refuge and where they were in prayer together with the first 2 of the missionaries listed below. 58. St. Leo Mangan S.J., priest, 59. St. Paul Den S.J., priest, 60. Saint Iacutem Yisre S.J., priest, 61. St. Modestan Lao S.J., priest. The names and ages of the Chinese lay Christians were as follows: 62. St. Mary Zhou born Wu, aged about 50 years, 63. St. Petrus Zhou Rixon, aged 19, 64. St. Johann Baptiste Zhou Wei, aged 17, 65. St. Mary Fu Gilland, aged 37, 66. St. Barbara Sui born Luhan, aged 51, 67. St. Joseph Martyr, aged 60, 68. St. Lucia Wang Cheng, aged 18, 69. St. Maria Fan Kun, aged 16, 70. St. Mary Chi Yu, aged 15, 71. St. Maria Zhangzhu, aged 11 years, 72. St. Mary du Bonchao, aged 51, 73. St. Magdalene du Fengzhu, aged 19, 74. St. Mary du Bontian, aged 42, 75. St. Paul Wuanzhu, aged 62, 76. St. Yohan Baptista Wu Mantang, aged 17, 77. St. Paulus Wu Wanxiu, aged 16, 78. St. Raymond Li Guangzhen, aged 59, 79. St. Peter Li Guanwei, aged 63, 80. St. Peter Zhaomingzhen, aged 61, 81. St. John Baptist Zhaomingxi, aged 56, 82. St. Teresa Chenjinji, aged 25, 83. St. Rose Chenaji, aged 22, 84. St. Peter Wang Zuo Long, aged 58, 85. St. Mary Guo Bornli, aged 65, 86. St. Joan Wu Wenyin, aged 50, 87. St. Zhang Wailu, aged 57, 88. St. Mark Ji Tianxiang, aged 66, 89. St. Annan Born Chin, aged 72, 90. St. Marian Born Guo, aged 64, 91. St. Annan Born Jiao, aged 26, 92. St. Marian Lingua, aged 29, 93. St. Paul Lugint, aged 79, 94. St. Joseph Wang Kuiju, aged 37, 95. St. John Wang Kuixin, aged 25, 96. St. Teresa Zhang Born He, aged 36, 97. St. Lang Born Yang, aged 29, 98. St. Paulus Lang Fu, aged 9, 99. St. Elizabeth Keen Born Bian, aged 54, 100. St. Simon Keen Chun Fu, aged 14, 101. St. Peter Lu Ziyu, aged 57, 102. St. Anna Wang, aged 14, 103. St. Joseph Wang Yumi, aged 68, 104. St. Lucy Wang Born Wang, aged 31, 105. St. Andreas Wang Tianqing, aged 9, 106. St. Mary Wang Bornli, aged 49, 107. St. Guy Juzi, aged 18, 108. St. Mary Zhao Born Guo, aged 60, 109. St. Rose Zhao, aged 22, 110. St. Maria Zhao, aged 17, 111. St. Joseph Yuan Gengan, aged 47, 112. St. Paul G. Tings Hu, aged 61, 113. St. Rose Fan Hui, aged 45. Besides all those already mentioned who were killed by the Boxers, it is necessary also to remember 114. Saint Albrecht Crescitelli, a priest of the Pontifical Institute for Foreign Missions of Milan, who carried out his ministry in southern Shanxi and was martyred on July 21, 1900. Some years later, members of the Salesian Society of St. John Bosco were added to the considerable number of martyrs recorded above. 115. St. Louis Versilia, Bishop, 116. St. Callistus Caravario, priest. They were killed together on February 25, 1930 at Lithau Tseul. Following the failure of the Boxer Rebellion, the government recognized it had no choice but to modernize, which in turn led to a booming conversion period in the following decades. The Chinese developed respect for the moral level that Christians maintained in the hospital and schools. The continuing association between Western imperialism in China and missionary efforts nevertheless continued to fuel hostilities against missions. and Christianity in China. All missions were banned in China by the new communist regime after the outbreak of the Korean War in 1950, and officially continue to be legally outlawed to the present.